Hi, my name is Aaron. This is my show Reeducation, and obviously today we're doing something a little bit different. This is fantastic. I'm going to be reviewing a video from PragerU called Why God is a He. And who knows, maybe this might have something to do with gender bias. Maybe this might have something to do with, I don't know, transsexual God. Who knows what we're going to get out of this? But what I do know is that when it comes to professional reactionaries, there is a certain amount of praxis that's involved with calling them out on their bullshit. So without any further ado, let's take a look at this fine, splendid, delightful video.
One of the criticisms many people make against the Bible is that it depicts God in male terms. The most obvious example is God is referred to as He. Why did the Bible do this? Well, here's the answer. Because the Bible is preoccupied with making a kinder, less violent, more just world. If you share these...
So hold on. So they depict oh fuck. So they depict God as a he because they want a kinder, gentler, more just world by immediately making all women subservient to a man. That makes a whole lot of sense. Good job. Great job, PragerU. Perpetuating this, what's that called? What's that thing where it's like a male-dominated society? It's a petri dish, something like that. It sounds something like that. I'm sure there's something like that. That it sounds like this is sort of, the beginning of. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but let's keep watching.
Goals, and I suspect you do, then you'll have to agree the Bible made the right decision. Before I explain, however, I need to add an obvious caveat. The God of the Bible is neither male nor female.
I was wrong. Or I was right. Maybe God is actually going through transition at the time, or maybe God is gender neutral. That's why God wants us to have luxury gay space communism with transgender characteristics. That's why God wants us to have that. All right, genius, continue on.
God transcends gender. What I'm talking about here is why God is depicted in male terms in the Bible.
Because the Bible's stupid. God transcends gender. So God is basically the same as Vosh, where they're gender abolitionists? Okay. Transcending gender.
Gender-wise, the Bible had three choices: masculine, he; feminine, she; or neuter, it.
Are you fucking kidding me? Neuter, it. This is fucked. This is fucked. I can't believe this. No, let me rephrase that. I can believe this because I'm no longer shocked by things anymore in the world. I'm just thoroughly disappointed more and more often. God, PragerU, fucking classy.
We can readily rule out neuter. For one thing, neuter nouns don't exist in Hebrew, the language of the Old Testament, which, after all, first introduced this God to us. For another, the biblical God is a personal God.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true. If there are genderless nouns in Hebrew, or if the neuter noun, as they're talking about it, is something that exists or doesn't exist in Hebrew. Funny that. How is it exactly that you're trying to say that God could either be one of three things, male, female, or the neuter noun, and then say, oh, but by the way, the third option wasn't even an option in the Bible because they didn't have a word for that. A word for a thing that you literally just made up. There is no neuter noun. Nobody talks about it as a thing. People do talk about gender as being on some kind of spectrum, some kind of wave formation, basically. But as far as a neuter noun goes, that's not something that really exists. You can also, not just a spectrum, but there are other variations to it as well. You can be outside of that spectrum and so forth. But for the most part, in broad senses of the term, gender can be defined on a broad spectrum. What the fuck is a neuter noun? Oh my god, okay.
To whom we can and must relate. And we cannot relate to, let alone obey or love, an it. Aside from...
That is fucking bullshit. Holy shit, that is fucking insane. You cannot love... So they're saying basically that people that identify as something other than male or female is an it, as they so disgustingly put it, that these people, these human individuals who happen to not identify as one gender or another, they're an it to PragerU and whoever this fucking geriatric bedshitter is. They're an it to those people. And so and because of that, they don't deserve or require or even can gain love from anybody because they're completely unrelatable. So that means that everybody out there that identifies as anything other than male and female, you can't be loved. Your parents don't love you. Your friends don't love you. Nobody can care about you because you don't fall hard into one of those gender binary terms, either male or female. Something that is basically or entirely a social construct. In nature, animals have penises, animals have vaginas. In human behavior, we create this idea of masculinity and this idea of femininity, and then we place people inside of those boxes and try to tell them that that's the norm, that's the way that they're supposed to be, and that's the way that basically the gender norm that they're supposed to act like. They're supposed to do it in a performance way. That's why people say that gender is for the most part performative, because it fucking is. You can have very butch people, women, acting very much like men, and you can have very effeminate men acting very much like women. There's a broad spectrum on that, but for some reason, according to these fucking no-minds, these absolute fucking brain-dead losers, they think that the only way that you can be loved, the only way that you can be even real, is if you wear the clothing that capitalism has assigned to you, if you play with the toys that capitalism has assigned to you, if you take the jobs that capitalism has assigned to you. They're trying to perpetuate the establishment. That's what they're trying to do here.
Aside from the language issue, the Bible depicts God in masculine terms because, 1, the Hebrew Bible's primary concern is making a good world. 2, a good world can only be achieved by making good people. And 3, the people who commit nearly all the world's violence are males. Therefore, it is in both men's and women's interests to depict God in the masculine.
What the fuck? What the fuck? That was like the biggest bait and switch I've ever heard. That didn't make any sense at all. Hold on. Okay, so he says, first, the Bible depicts God in masculine terms because making a good world, because 1, they want to make a good world, 2, because they want to make good people, and 3, because the people that commit the most crimes are men. So if men create the most crimes and you're wanting to have a good world and make good people, then why are you putting the people that commit the most crimes and do the most violence as being God? This person that is the most flawed is now going to be revered as the best person, as the most amazing being in the entire universe. What the fuck? That is the craziest shit I've ever fucking heard. If you wanted to have a good world and good people, by your metric, you should literally have a woman as God, a female as, or somebody that's completely gender neutral. Even though they said that God is gender neutral, but now they're saying that he's masculine in the Bible. Like, How do you know? Okay. How do you know that, fucking Christ, how do you know that God is gender neutral if it's not written in your Bible? And then if it is written in your Bible, why would you make the assumption that God would be gender neutral if it's written in there as he is a he? And why would you believe any of this shit? Because there's no fucking evidence for it. Fuck. Carrying on.
The people who commit nearly all the world's violence are males. Therefore, it is in both men's and women's interests to depict God in the masculine. Here's why. Without a father or some other male rule giver, young men are likely to do great harm. If there is no male authority figure to give a growing boy rules, it is very difficult for him to control his wilder impulses.
Boys will be boys. They're just going to go crazy and do stupid boy shit if they don't have a male figure in their lives. And if they have somebody that's an imaginary friend that they call a male in their lives as a god, then that's going to make all of the difference in the world. So basically what you're saying to me is that you could replace God with, I don't know, a Tickle Me Fucking Elmo as long as you called it male, and that would somehow be just as beneficial because Elmo said that you probably shouldn't rape people or punch people if they haven't done anything to you. That is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. This is literally just the dumbest. There is no argument here. There's nothing here. I didn't expect there would be, by the way. I knew there wouldn't be, but and it warms my heart that there isn't. But I wish that there was because I want to bite into something, and this is literally giving me fuck all. It's just baselessly assuming a bunch of shit and getting over 1 million views for it. Mind blown. Sufficiently blown.
As President Barack Obama told an audience in 2008, children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison.
And the funny thing about that, too, is that a lot of the fathers that are not in a lot of these children's lives aren't in their lives because they're locked up in prison. Because capitalism incentivizes that we take the fathers out of the home and we, first of all, work them to death so they have basically never had the chance to know their family, know their kids, or anything like that. And if they don't get a job, if they're in a position where they can't get a job from a capitalist and they're in a socioeconomic situation where they would have to basically resort to violence or theft or whatever to be able to survive, then they end up in fucking prison. And then you end up with statistics like this. Listen, I don't like Obama either. I think Obama is a neoliberal piece of shit, and he's part of the reason why the entire fucking world is crumbling right now. So we're the same on that one. We both agree on that one. As far as I'm concerned, it's his fucking fault that a lot of the fathers are locked up. So maybe me and Bedshitter Boy here actually have something in common.
Commenting on that speech, Dr. Alvin Poussant, a psychiatrist with Harvard Medical School, confirmed these statistics. The absence of fathers corresponds with a host of social ills, including dropping out of school and serving time in jail. In other words, if one's primary goal is a good world, specifically a world with far less murder, child abuse, theft, and rape, a God depicted in masculine terms, a father in heaven, not a goddess, a mother in heaven, must be the source of moral commands, such as do not murder.
This is making the gross, stupid, fucking ridiculous assumption that the people that committed all of these crimes didn't believe in God. You're just making a blatant assumption that all of these people were, atheists or believed in a different God? Vishnu? They couldn't have been Muslim because Muslims believe in your fucking God. They couldn't have been Jews because Jews believe in your fucking God. So who exactly are these people that are committing all of the problems? I'll tell you who they are. In the United States, they're majority, Christians. Because the majority of people in the United States are, fucking Christians. Just so happens, motherfucker making me cough, that Christians in a majority Christian nation commit the majority of crimes. That's how fucking statistics work, motherfucker. That's how numbers work. Beautiful. And you need somebody, here's the other thing too, is that don't forget how much you need your daddy. You need to have that daddy come along and tell you, don't murder, don't rape, don't do bad things, because if I don't tell you that, boys will be boys, and they'll go and start murdering and raping and stealing and doing all kinds of terrible things, because that's just the way they are. That's just human nature, so we have to have a god, a daddy figure, somebody that we have to revere and worship and pray to every single night, hoping, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, please, I need to know the rules, please tell me how to act in society, even though, you know, you're basically taught from the day that you're fucking born how to act in society by your parents, by your family, by your friends, by your community, by the cultural norms that exist in your area. And ideas like don't rape and don't murder just happen to be, funny enough, shock among shock, culturally accepted ideas all over the world. It's not just something that only Christians believe in. It's something that Hindus believe in and Jews believe in, and even Muslims believe in those things too. Oh my god, yeah, it's hard to believe that, you know, a massive religion incorporating millions, if not billions of people happen to believe that murder and rape are bad things. Fucking shocking. These aren't things that we need a god for to know. These aren't things that we need a Bible for to know. We know those things because human nature is not evil and seething and disgusting and terrible. Human nature is one of love and compassion and kindness, and we didn't need anybody to tell us that murdering was wrong because we could fucking figure that one out ourselves pretty quickly. Need a fucking daddy. Daddy!
And do not steal. If the father figure / rule giver that boys need is not on earth, a morally authoritative masculine God can serve as an effective substitute.
What about a morally authoritative masculine female God? What if God happened to be a trans woman with a with a feminine penis and masculine traits? What if God was a trans woman who also happened to be a butch trans woman that had a fucking feminine penis that was also masculine? That kind of person can exist, and apparently God doesn't fall into exact gender norms anyway, so why couldn't God be that thing? Why does God have to be something other than that? Why can't God be basically literally anything we want to fucking have them be as? We can, because God doesn't exist. Oh my god, okay. Carrying on.
Any discomfort you might feel with the masculine depiction of God is not comparable to the pain we will all feel if boys are not civilized into good men. To transform a wild boy into a good man, a male role model is as necessary as a male rule giver. So when the Bible depicts God as merciful...
So let's extrapolate from this. The only people that can actually give laws, or that should be making laws, should be men. Because if men aren't the ones that are making laws, then they don't have any authority behind them, right? Women shouldn't be allowed to make laws, only men should. This is bordering on going directly against women's suffrage, for fuck's sakes. Like this, PragerU. I usually say that that things are unable to basically shock me. And again, I'm not shocked, but I am incredibly disappointed. I'm more disappointed than I was when I first opened this video, because I knew that this was going to be stupid bullshit, but I didn't realize the level at which the stupid bullshit was going to be at. Quite astounding, quite amazing, actually.
Compassionate and caring for the poor and the widow It is not so much interested in describing God as in providing a model for humans, especially males, to emulate. If God were depicted as female, young men would deem traits such as compassion, mercy, and care for the downtrodden as feminine and would not identify with them.
Care for the downtrodden, mercy, and compassion. Those are not masculine or feminine traits. Those are traits of human fucking beings, you fucking absolute brain dead, no mind, bed-shitting moron. You have a smooth brain. I didn't want to say that because that's not my term, but you do, and it's frustrating.
But if God, their Father in heaven, who is strong, on occasion even a warrior, cares for the poor and loves justice, mercy, and kindness, then these traits are also masculine and to be emulated. The argument that girls equally need female role models to avoid violence is objectively not true, because the problem of mayhem and violence is overwhelmingly a male one.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that women don't commit mayhem or violence. It could be overwhelmingly male, but it doesn't mean that women don't do it. This is going back to what I talked about before when referring to toxic masculinity, you fucking hapless moron. Toxic masculinity does not mean that masculinity is toxic or that all men are toxic. It means there is toxic behavior that we decided to call masculine and then called a bunch of men toxic because of it. Men are not toxic. Women are not toxic. There is certain behaviors that men and women all do that is fucking toxic. You want to say that mayhem and violence is for the most part created by men? Fine, I'll agree with you, yeah. Men do commit the most mayhem and violence. Because culturally, partly because of your fucked up stupid religion, because of this crazy, insane reliance on biblical texts that are thousands of years old, that have horrible ideas about how men and women should be treated. Because of those things, we have the hang-ups that we do in our culture today. That's why we have problems like, men being violent for the wrong reasons, or thinking that putting somebody down is masculine, or any number of toxic masculinity traits that we couple to actual masculinity. Any one of those things are reasons, and they're based off of, for the most part, old conservative bad viewpoints and horrible religious ideologies, all basically coalescing at once to fuck up our world right now. So go fuck yourself. I don't want to keep saying go fuck yourself. That's not an argument.
Of course, girls need female role models, but not to avoid violence. And, like boys, girls are more likely to obey a male authority figure. A report released by the Minnesota Psychological Association concluded, in a study of female inmates, more than half came from a father-absent home.
So from this cherry-picked resource, I'm going to give you some cherry-picked bullshit that you can probably find 100 statistics that go completely against. In a study of female inmates, more than half came from a father-absent home. Funny that, when it's one parent raising a fucking child, it is harder for them to, make sure that that child has everything they need to survive. That child ends up being in a lower socioeconomic status along with that single parent, and then they resort to violence and crime to get by. It's not the father that's missing, that's the problem. The problem is the system itself makes it impossible for a single parent to raise a fucking child because we think that everything has to be a competition and that the single family has to raise that child all by themselves. Those two parents or one parent, it's their sole responsibility to take care of that child. You know how it is in anarcho-communism or, in a society, in a functioning fucking community? The entire community cares about that child. The entire community watches out for that child. Like the way it was back 100 years ago when this fucking no-mind was a child himself. He probably had neighbors and friends and family members that weren't his direct parents looking after him and taking care of him in different ways. That's the way things always have been. That's the way things are in other countries. That's the way things should be. But instead, we have basically incentivized this idea where people have to be in competition with one another all the time. Everything is your sole responsibility. If there's something that happens to you and it's bad, then that means that you are the one that is at fault. And if you're struggling to take care of kids because you're a single parent, well, look at this. Here's a cherry-picked example of one fucking parent that happened to be in a position where it was really easy for them to make it. We have to tout that person as basically the norm, and if you don't live up to their standard, then you're a piece of shit and you haven't tried hard enough and you haven't worked hard enough, so fuck you. Of course, they're going to be more... Of course, more people are going to end up in jail if they don't have access to the same resources as people that have stable homes with 2 people taking care of them. If there was 4 people taking care of them, they'd be in a better position even. If there was an entire village taking care of them, they'd be in an even better position. This is a stupid, cherry-picked, bad example that doesn't explain why any of it works.
It is therefore ironic that some women are attempting to render the God of Western religious morality less masculine because if their goal is achieved, it is women who will suffer most from lawless males.
They're so defenseless. They're so defenseless. These women are so defenseless that they can't do anything to save themselves. They can't help themselves in any way. They're so defenseless. And all of the males are ravenous beasts that want to just rape and murder and destroy and kill. And the women are defenseless and they can't save themselves. This fucking guy doesn't just hate women, which is clear that he hates women. He hates men too. He hates you. He hates me. He hates anybody that doesn't solely fit into his fucked up religious ideology. This is so goddamn anti-man and anti-woman and anti-human being that it's actually disgusting. Not surprising. Disgusting.
We have too many absent fathers on earth to begin to even entertain the thought of having no father in heaven. I'm Dennis Prager. Thank you for watching this video.
Dennis Prager.
To help keep...
Dennis Prager. His name is Dennis Prager. I should have known that because, that's the guy behind PragerU. I don't care about these fucking reactionaries at all. I think that they're a bunch of aberrant, moronic, terrible human beings that are sucking us down into this spiral towards fascism and hate and bigotry and basically helping capitalism on its merry journey towards fucking killing the entire planet and destroying us all. So yeah, I don't know who you are, Dennis Prager. You fucking hapless 2.1 million... Did I read that right? 2.1 million fucking subscribers on this useless channel. Useless channel. I only know barely who this person is through osmosis. And yet somehow he has 2.1 million views on YouTube. Literally the most unimportant motherfucker on the face of the earth. But he's got some money behind him. He's got money. You can tell because of the video. They got some money behind him. And because of that, they got a lot of fucking views. A lot of views. Oh, boy. So that's fantastic. I had no idea that they had that many subscribers. I thought PragerU was just kind of a joke. But people actually take this shit seriously. That's fucking hilarious. If you take this shit seriously... I'm sorry for you. Talk to me in the comment section. I want to find out why you take this shit seriously. And if you're a God fucking camera. Canon, you are just trash. I don't know how far I made it on that. So, like I was saying, if you're a professional reactionary, talk to me in the comment section below, and I will basically tell you how big of a fucking moron you are. And if you're just some random person and you listen to this and you think that this is actually good information and it's helpful, come talk to me too, because we got some things that we need to discuss. I think that there might be there's issues, and we'll talk about them. Anyway, that's my show. My name is Aaron. That's my show actually over here, but I'm still Aaron. Re-education's back there. Thanks for watching. And if you do get a chance, check me out on Patreon. Every dollar does help fund this show. Thanks for watching.